It's time for Coach's Corner on KCCR and online at kccr.com. Coach's Corner is brought to you by Todd's Electric, Jane's Pharmacy, Lamb Motors, Avera, Oahe Federal Credit Union, and Edward Jones Financial. Coach's Corner is also brought to you by Graham Tire, Kruger Contracting, CHS River Plains, Gales Gas, Bank West, and Capital City Ford, Lincoln, and Toyota. From the KCCR studios in Pierre, KCCR award-winning sports director, John Winkler.
And a good evening as we welcome you here inside the KCCR studios on this Wednesday evening. The month of February is upon us. We're down to their final four shows, and tonight we will talk with head coach Landon Badger of the Hawaii Capital boys varsity team. Also, Kurt Bebout of the Pierre Governor girls basketball team, Matt Thorson, the head coach of the Pierre girls wrestling team, and Brian White, the head coach of the Sully Buttes boys basketball team. So coming up to a couple of big weeks as we start to close in on the end of some of the winter sports over the next couple of weeks and get ready for some state tournaments as well. That's all coming up on the program for tonight here on Coach's Corner. We'll be back and talking with head coach Landon Badger after this here on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com.
Most of us already know that Gales Gas of Pierre is the place to call for propane. They offer an automatic fill plan so you never have to worry about running out of propane. They accept debit and credit payments or a budget payment plan to spread out the cost throughout the year so you never have surprises when you get your bill. For delivery, convenience, and great customer service, call Gales Gas at 224-5518. That's Gales Gas at 224-5518.
At Shane's Pharmacy, your healthcare is important, and Shane wants to be the pharmacist to take care of you. Shane's Pharmacy will make sure your prescriptions are filled in a timely manner, they will answer your questions, and they will even deliver to your home or office. Call 223-9200. Shane's Pharmacy, the pharmacy you know and trust. The number again is 223-9200. Shane's Pharmacy in Fort Pierre, proud to support high school athletics.
Hey, I'm just here so I don't get fined, so y'all can sit here and ask me all the questions y'all want to. I'm going to answer with the same answer, so y'all can shoot if y'all please.
This is Coach's Corner on your home for the Pierre Governors, KCCR, and online at kccrradio.com.
All right. As we welcome you back to Coach's Corner here on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com. Joining me is Coach Landon Badger of the Hawaii Capitals as they get set for another big weekend coming up on Friday and Saturday, hosting Aberdeen and traveling to Mitchell on Saturday. Coach, let's first go back to last Saturday. Tough loss against the Mitchell Marlins in a game that doesn't. There's no elimination of the Capitals right now from the state tournament. It makes things a little bit harder to make the state tournament, but it does not eliminate the Capitals. Let's go back to that game. The biggest takeaway from the loss on Saturday.
I'd say the biggest takeaway was just the heart that everyone had out there. I really felt like we finally completely played as a whole group from start to finish, and from any little hiccup that we might have had that might have changed the result of the score, we were able to bounce back and keep competing all the way through. And unfortunate way to go out, and at least it would have been awesome to at least make it to overtime and get that extra point. But regardless of that, we fought all the way until the end, and even gave ourselves an opportunity with another minute and a half left with their two power play opportunities, and I believe we had 7 or 8 shots on net in the last minute and a half. And I mean, that's the things that you want to see come the end of the game, and giving yourselves an opportunity instead of just skating around looking for the perfect shot. We were giving ourselves many chances.
And the game of hockey and the breaks that can go your way and not go your way. A 5-on-3 in the last 2 minutes, it doesn't necessarily always mean you're going to score a goal or anything like that. But the amount of chances that you had, it was a really good 5-on-3 that the Capitals had. Just couldn't find a way to score, and that's sometimes that's how the game of hockey goes. You can have a great power play that doesn't score, and then you have a bad power play that somehow just randomly squeaks one in somewhere. But that's how the game goes sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, most of our guys would say and feel like it's weighing on us that all the tough breaks keep going the other way versus our way. But we just keep telling them, keep your head high and keep fighting as hard as you possibly can, and I'll promise you that you really will get rewarded. And, I mean, there was an unfortunate tip-in off of one of our skates that was 6 feet wide of the net and ends up going 5-hole on Jackson, and those are the tough breaks that they hurt, but if we continue to do our little pieces, that I promise them over and over that those little bounces will go back our way too, and we'll get to see it as a result of the end of the game and finding a way to find points that maybe we'll be surprised that we didn't feel like we were going to get earlier on in the season. And so we still have ourselves, I believe it's 5 or 6 opportunities still, or maybe even 7, to find a way to get points and find a way into the state tournament. And the goal at the beginning of the year is find a way to make it to March, and once you get there, anything's possible.
And you know, the also the other side of that too is that coming up on Saturday, you get that same team again. Now you're not overlooking Aberdeen, and you're getting ready for Aberdeen first, and then we'll take on Mitchell. But it's a quick turnaround to then get to face that same team and try and avenge that loss from last Saturday to now this coming Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're trying to focus first on that Aberdeen game, and I mean, if you go and you look at the standings from 6 down to 8 and 9 spot, it's all within just a few points. Aberdeen might be the highest favor there, but finding a way to take points from them gives us an advantage against both Mitchell and Watertown, because they're not doing the job against Aberdeen. And so if we can take one there and then find a way to go and kind of get our revenge tour on Mitchell and find a way to make that a 5-4 game in our favor, we're looking at an opportunity into the state tournament, and still another chance with Watertown to go and get the revenge on them as well. And after that, I know that we still have games with both Rapid and Brookings, and those games did not go the way that we wanted the first time around, but we know what we have to do to be able to keep ourselves in those hockey games. And so if we can get a little bit of momentum going after this Aberdeen-Mitchell weekend, anything's possible when you have the Rapid team come to town. You play in front of your home crowd, and you just start to play with the compete level that we have versus kind of really the first time we played them, it was a little bit more of a scared tactic. It just seemed like we didn't quite want to play our hockey and just kind of shut down right away. And so anything's possible there, and we end the season just like what we did last year with Sioux Falls, at Sioux Falls. We've played 2 really good hockey games against them, and before the Mitchell game, we said that our best hockey game all year was actually our 2-3 loss against Sioux Falls West, and so we know we can compete with them, and we'll be able to have our chance again there come the end of the season too.
Talking with Coach Landon Badger here of the Hawaii Capitals. They play Aberdeen at 8 o'clock on Friday at home. Then we'll travel to Mitchell on Saturday to play another 8 o'clock game, but we'll play in Mitchell on Saturday evening. 2 important games, and I don't. There's a lot of coaches, that don't like to talk about how important this game is at the end of the season compared to what it would be at the beginning of the season. But, on that same standpoint, you look at the standings and you can see, like, hey, these are very important games. And does that help maybe these guys? And not that they wouldn't understand it, but it helped them kind of get that extra motivation, saying, hey, we got to get these for the playoffs. We can see this now. We can tangibly see what's at stake, and we've got to be able to play at a high level over this weekend and then going into the next couple weekends.
Yeah, it's completely different from the beginning of the year to now. I mean, at the beginning of the year, you're looking at a group that's so young with 3 returning varsity hockey players just trying to develop, trying to be able to become a hockey team, trying to be able to understand the game of hockey, trying to play at the highest level in high school hockey. And so at the beginning of the season, you're not really looking at standings. You're not really looking at the picture all the way down into March time and how to get there. You're just trying to focus on your group and getting better as a whole group. And now that we are down to the second half, where you can kind of see the end goal and you can see what it takes to be able to get to that state tournament, we're at a point where, we use this as a motivational tool. I mean, you get a pick right here between Aberdeen, Mitchell, Rapid, Brookings, Sioux Falls, Watertown. Who do you want to beat? Who do you want to be able to take out to find your way into the state tournament? You've got to take those guys down, and you don't have to take them all down. I mean, it's a cherry on top if we can do that, but we want to be as realistic as possible right now in the fact that this weekend we've got 2 opportunities against 2 teams that are on the lower half of the standings that we've got to take advantage of. And I feel really comfortable, especially after this last weekend. When I walked into the locker room after that game, it was one of the first times all year that I saw from all the way from the left side of the bench to the right side of the bench, everyone was just devastated of the loss, versus sometimes you kind of have times where you have a few kids who weren't maybe playing very much in the game that just aren't quite as engaged. And this weekend was a completely different group, and so we use that as another tool of motivation that we've got everyone included. We have everyone focused. We're all ready to go and ready to step up in whatever the opportunity is for them.
Again, talking with Coach Landon Badger of the Hawaii Capitals, you mentioned, too, these guys coming along and being a completely different group than the beginning of the season. You know, you have those guys that scored on Saturday, but also, you know, going back to the game before against Huron, Dylan Dotson obviously scored 2 goals against Mitchell. Keegan Kidd scored a goal, and then Dotson also scored against Huron. Those are those 2 guys, especially coming into the season, that you knew they were going to score. But Ian Schweitzer and Asher Vandenbos scored in that win against Huron. Aiden Beam had a goal against the Mitchell Marlins. Those secondary scoring that we're seeing a little bit more from this Capitals team, how impressive that is to see some of these guys. Obviously, Beam was a part of the group last year and still kind of being able to play a little, you know, having that extended time now on varsity as well. But some of these other guys that are playing for the first time and getting the real good look, seeing that secondary scoring, what have you liked about that moving into the second half of the season?
Yeah, I mean, it was no secret that Dylan and Keegan were probably going to be 2 of our best goal scorers and the most just engaged at all time kind of hockey players that we had. They had the most experience, and so that was known. And I mean, after that, like you look through our stat line, and you've got a couple goals from Triton, Aiden, Cam, Bridger, Logan, Asher. Multiple guys with multiple goals throughout the season, Ian Schweitzer, and then a few other guys that are down there playing a little bit more quiet, but they know their role. They know whether or not they're the goal scorer, or if they're a guy that more sets somebody up and does a really good job in our defensive zone. And we talk about it all the time that stats don't always matter. I mean, you want to see the goals, you want to see the assists. Those are the flashy pieces, but being able to go and kind of hold your own in whatever role we ask you to do, whether it's the defensive zone or trying to really kind of hone in on one guy, making sure that they're not doing anything special, or being the guys that have to go be the goal scorers. Whatever it might be, we've got guys in all those roles. And, yeah, there's a lot of our young guys that have stepped up in the last 4 weeks and started to show a completely different developed hockey player than they were even 6 weeks ago. And yesterday at practice, we did a whole bunch of battle drills, and I saw guys work harder than I've seen them work all year. And I make the joke, where's that been all year? And, you know, you get smiles out of them and you get some laughs with them, and it's like, hey, I see what your potential really is right there. Now we just got to find a way to consistently use that throughout the hockey game. And those young guys are getting better and better every single day. And when they make a mistake, they don't go back out and make the same mistake twice. And that's a learning curve. Ian Schweitzer is one that I know was holding his head low after a drop pass in front of the net against Mitchell that turns into a goal. But he's a kid that's not going to make that mistake ever again. And we don't even have to talk to him about it. He is already maturing so far with that. And those are the pieces that we're looking for. After that, that's when you start to look into how can we get him to be a little bit more of a flashy player, be able to have more of those goals, more of those assists and whatnot. But it's the little things that matter most right now, and we're seeing a lot of good development.
You can talk with Coach Landon Badger. The Hawaii Capitals take on the Aberdeen Cougars 8 o'clock on Friday night, and then be on the road to Mitchell on Saturday night, 8 o'clock. Both games on Capital City Rock and also on YouTube at Capital City Rock Sports. We'll switch gears here for just a moment. It is Super Bowl Sunday coming up, and you are the first one, but you get a chance to not necessarily be the first one because we had some guesses last week, but the first one this week. The Chiefs and the Eagles in the Super Bowl on Sunday. I got to have the winner. I got to have a score, and we'll see where you fall the first time that you're doing this. First time, maybe one is you can win it right away. But tell me who you think is going to win and what the score is going to be.
I think I got to go for the three-peat. I think Mahomes and Kelsey got something special there, and they'll find a way to just keep being a championship-level team. I'm looking at a score of 35-32 of the Kansas City Chiefs.
35-32. I like the higher scoring games.
I do too.
It's also hard to say, it's going to be a 10-7 game or anything like that. you got to go, if you're going to go somewhere on the scale of being a defensive or offensive game, you got to go on the off, especially the two teams that are playing in this game. While their defense is good, it's hard to say that their offense won't be carrying each team throughout the game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you got Mahomes, who is just an offensive threat at all times. It doesn't matter if you're the top guy or the bottom guy; he's going to make you look good. And then on the other side, you got Hurts and Barkley that can run like crazy. And you saw what kind of points they put up against the Commanders in the semifinals. So it should be a shootout.
All right, we'll transition back now to hockey to wrap things up for Coach's Corner here for this segment of Coach's Corner. Biggest key now for the Capitals to get two big wins on Friday and Saturday against Aberdeen and Mitchell.
Yeah, I mean, we've said it multiple times throughout the season of trusting our process. The biggest takeaway that I really have, even just from that Mitchell game, that's going to help us going forward was we really did focus on our plan. We didn't focus on any outside activity, anything that might have happened in the game that would be negative. We just went right back to our job and didn't let anything bother us, and that's going to be the key to success. I mean, we're not looking to go and have two shutouts this weekend. Obviously, that's always the goal for Jackson and Net, but we want to be able to be as competitive as possible, and when things do go wrong, we bounce back and we're ready to go right away again.
Well, Coach, hey, I appreciate the time. As always, good talking to you. Good luck Friday and Saturday, and we'll be talking to you again soon.
Thank you very much.
As head coach Landon Badger of the Hawaii Capitals, again, they play 8 o'clock at home on Friday, 8 o'clock on the road in Mitchell on Saturday. Both games on Capital City Rock and on YouTube at Capital City Rock Sports. Back with more Coach's Corner after this here on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com. Radio.
This fall, take some time to think about your future while the leaves make their way down to earth and the last sunset of summer leaves us with an autumn chill. It's time to grab the nearest foam finger and break out the face paint. Rush the stands with First Dakota National Bank and forget how to blink. Fall sports are back with jaw-dropping plays, an electric atmosphere, and epic scores. Make some noise with First Dakota National Bank. Open a new account online today at firstdakotanationalbank.com. Member FDIC.
Hey you. Are you at a job that is fulfilling, has good benefits to support you or a family today, and retirement goes down the road? If you just said no, listen up. CHS River Plains is hiring operations personnel, drivers, and custom applicators at several locations. These come with a knockout affordable benefit package for you and the whole family. Apply to a job with CHS River Plains and up your benefits straight up. To apply, visit us online at chsriverplains.com or stop in at one of our locations. CHS is an equal opportunity employer.
You're listening to Coach's Corner on Central South Dakota's sports leader, KCCR.
You like that? You like that?
As we welcome back to Coach's Corner here on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com. Joining me is Coach Kirk Beebound of the Pierre Governor girls basketball team, picking up a 53-40 win last night on the road against Harrisburg. They will be hosting Yankton on Friday, then traveling to T on Saturday for a 7 o'clock game Friday night, 3 o'clock game Saturday afternoon. Coach, before we start talking about what's upcoming, let's go back to last night's win, 53-40. Best thing that you saw from the Governors in that 13-point win last night?
Well, we just came out and played with the energy and effort that, we come to expect from our girls. But, I mean, sometimes you get a bunch of games in a row and you're on the road. And, honestly, the environment at Harrisburg is kind of quiet. So, it's, I was a little worried, watching some of our younger levels play. Just the energy and effort was hard. Like, I think they were trying, but it was just hard to manifest. But so a little worried about that going into the game, that we'd have that type of energy that we needed to have. And it was nice to see girls came out really focused. Our girls on the bench were engaged and intense, and it was just nice to see the focus and intensity level of our girls in that game.
Yeah, and you mentioned too, you've had a busy stretch, and it doesn't slow down for at least till having after next Tuesday's game against Huron. Then you'll have a week before you travel to Brookings again. But this is a busy stretch, and the sickness and everything that's going around. How difficult has the team kind of gone through that sickness? Have they relatively stayed healthy? Knocking on wood. How has that been able to? How has that affected the team over the course of the busy couple weeks?
We've dealt with our share of issues. Especially at lower levels, we have every day at practice we have about 6 girls that are out. But that's been kind of a year-long thing. Obviously we didn't have Grace against O'Gorman, and there's been some different girls at different days haven't felt the greatest, but I think pretty much everyone goes through that. I think for the most part we've handled it as best as we possibly could.
And the past 4 games with Brandon Valley, Aberdeen Central, Gorman, and then Harrisburg. Obviously, Harrisburg is now under 500, but at the time of the stretch, they were like 6-3 and have lost 4 in a row. That was a really tough stretch for the Governors in those 4 games. Obviously, every game is important. Every game is good. Washington, you played them not far behind that either as well. But what did you like most about this 4-game stretch? What the Governors were able to do against some of those top teams in the state?
Well, I'll just summarize the first half of the season, I guess. We knew coming out that it was going to take us some time, and we have a lot of some new faces, and we had to figure a lot of things out, and we didn't really have a ton of time together this summer. So we kind of expected that those first 4 games, those 2 weekend matchups were going to kind of be as they were. It was going to take some time. So, but then it's been really nice to see. Like it has been a stretch. We played like you mentioned, Brandon. We were ahead going into the fourth quarter. They were one of the best teams in the state. They almost beat Marshall, Minnesota, who was undefeated and number 1 in Class 3A in Minnesota. So I thought we competed really, really well in that one, gave ourselves a chance. When we went to Washington, and at halftime we were right there and played them really tough. And even against O'Gorman, we had some girls that hadn't even really played varsity basketball before that were out there in the first half against a team that's won 36 in a row, defending state champs. And I thought we battled with them pretty well. So just even in those losses, it's been nice to see, and I just think we've made a nice progression throughout. Aberdeen Central is a nice win. They're a good team. Harrisburg, they play a brutal schedule, just like a lot of teams in 2A South Dakota. So, we'll throw the records out, and it's on the road, and they're always tough. So it was another nice win, and I saw Bismarck beat Mandan, North Dakota, just a little bit ago, and Mandan's probably one of the best teams you're ever going to see. They got Division I girls basketball players. So that Bismarck win was really showed when we really play well what we can do. So it's been a good start, but a good first half. I think we put ourselves in a position to hopefully make a run at hosting a Sweet 16 game. But that's a long ways off. We're just focused on one game at a time. Every single game we play is going to be a battle. We could lose any game we play the rest of the way, and we could win any game that we play the rest of the way. So we just got to come out like we did last night and be focused and give it our all, and then let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah, talking with Coach Kirk Bebout here of the Pierre Governors. Yeah, you mentioned summarizing the first half of the season because you're 6-5 right now. That was your first game of the second half of the season, even though we moved into February, where it feels like you maybe have 5-6 games left, but you still had 10 in the month of February. And you also mentioned too, and I think the Pierre Governors, especially this girls basketball team over the last couple of years, have done a really good job of this too. Is that you go from playing some of those best teams in the state, and then Yankton, who is 0-13, and T, who's 5-10. Below you guys in the standings. There is, you mentioned that you throw records out the window, and this Governor team over the last couple of years, not worried about who you're playing, what their record is, what they've done. They're putting their best effort, trying to put their best effort on the floor every single night, and that's going to be no exception to teams that are below you in the standings coming up this weekend.
Yeah, well, we want to have fun. So, the way you have fun is by putting your best, being focused and giving everything you have, no matter who you're playing, and that's what makes it fun. no matter who you're playing, no matter where you're playing. And both the reality is both Yankton and T are very, very capable. Like, talk about playing tough schedules. T's played some really good teams down to the wire. They lost to Sioux Falls Jefferson on a last-second out-of-bounds play. They played a 15-2 Nebraska team down to the wire. Like, they're a good team. So, like, the record, that you really, if you think for a second based on someone's record that you're gonna have an easier time, then you're setting yourself up for disaster. So, we're just gonna try to continue to get better and put our best effort out there and try to have fun at the same time.
And also on that same side too, T's a new team for the Governors. Obviously, when you first played Bismarck, a new team, and you see some different teams on the schedule, but their first year in AA, that makes it a little bit more unknown somewhat. I mean, obviously, you guys have been scouting and been able to see them play other teams too when you're not necessarily getting ready for that matchup, but it is a little bit of a different challenge facing T, but also got to be fun again to see some new faces and new teams to go against.
Yeah, I actually have some personal ties in T. I did my student teaching in T. One of my mentors and best friends in the world teaches over there in T, and I know a lot of those guys pretty well over in T. So it'll be fun to go there. Actually, when we went to the state tournament last year, we had a day where we got to do our shoot around and practice over at T before we played. So yeah, looking forward to it. I know they got a good program there, and it should be a fun matchup.
Real quick, we're gonna jump to a different subject as I have every single year through the first couple weeks of February when we get ready for the Super Bowl, and I get to ask the coaches their prediction on who's going to win in the score. So, Coach, who's going to win between the Chiefs and the Eagles, and what's the score going to be?
Well, I usually say, if I was a betting man, and I am a betting man, so, but having said that, I am notoriously awful at picking the Super Bowl. So if anyone wants to win their Super Bowl bet, they probably want to do the opposite of what I say. But I'm gonna go with the Eagles in the run game and their ability to control the ball, and just winning 3 in a row is pretty tough. So I'm gonna go with the Eagles in this one, and we'll say 24-20.
24-20. Okay, all right. I was just we're closing in on the end of all this. I was about ready to have to make you make a different pick because someone else has the same winning score of 24, but not the same. I never had anybody pick the exact same team and score yet. You're kind of close, but yeah. So perfect. All right, Eagles 24-20. There's a lot of Eagles picks this year for the coaches. So I think some of it, yeah. I think there's a lot of coaches and a lot of people that don't want to see that three-peat. But anyway, we'll get back here to wrap up Coach's Corner. Let's go back to the subject at hand. Yankton on Friday at 7 o'clock tip-off, and then 3 o'clock tip-off on Saturday against T. For the Governors to be successful this weekend, Coach, what's the biggest key to make that happen?
Oh, just the energy and effort, just being excited to play. We only get so many of these. We only have so much time left that we got, like we said, second half, but that second half is really condensed. So we only got about a month left of our season, so we just want to enjoy every opportunity we get to be together and play basketball. So just being grateful for the opportunity and realizing what a privilege we have and letting that show on the floor.
Well, Coach, hey, I appreciate the time as always. Good luck this weekend, and we'll be talking to you again soon.
All right, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. That is head coach Kirk Beebout of the Pierre Governor girls basketball team. Both those games, 7 o'clock on Friday, 3 o'clock in T on Saturday. Friday night's a home game against Yankton. Both those games are on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports. More Coaches Corner on the way here on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com.
As community bankers, BankWest employees are deeply committed to supporting local causes, growing the local economy, and creating local opportunities. At a time when you can bank anywhere, we hope you choose BankWest. We'll be your financial partner for the long haul, helping you and your community achieve financial success. BankWest. Convenient, connected, committed. Member FDIC.
Look, it's no secret that owning a vehicle can cause a lot of stress, and they get a lot of wear and tear on them through every season. Graham Tire wants you to know that you can trust them with any problem that you have with your vehicle. They have fully trained ASE certified mechanics on staff, ready to handle it for you. From brakes and bearings to alignments and front ends. Let their experience work for you. Over 50 years combined means you can count on them. So if it's time for a transmission flush or even a simple oil change, the only name you need to know is Graham Tire, 421 West Sioux Avenue in Pierre.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Now I'm playing for real.
Yeah, you're doing pretty good. What play should I call now? Maybe corner 3.
He's hot. He is hot. Keep feeding that guy.
Now back to Coach's Corner with KCCR award-winning sports director John Winkler.
As we welcome you back to Coach's Corner here on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com. Join me as Coach Brian White to the Soybeans Charger boys basketball team. Picking up a big win last night, 55-41 over Jones County. They get set for the rivals Potter County coming to town on Friday. But Coach, let's see, got a good win streak going right now. Have winning 6 in a row to this point, and now 10-3 on the season. But let's go back to Jones County last night, 55-41 win. Biggest takeaway, biggest positive out of that 14-point win?
Probably the fact that we got through it. You know, we've had a ton of kids sick. We've got some kids down with injury. So our rotations got a little tight last night, and I thought our kids did a really nice job of playing through that and understanding how to manage the game a little bit, knowing that they had to stay out of foul trouble and do a few things to help us win. And I thought our kids did a really nice job managing that and played really well together, and were able to come away with a nice victory for us.
You know, and it's going around the state. There's a lot of teams that are dealing with sickness and everything, but every team's a little bit different when it comes to something like that. How difficult is it to work around, is not just a game, but in practice too, trying to get the things accomplished that you want to get accomplished without having all your guys there? How difficult is that? And then playing a game on top of all those sicknesses?
It really is. It's a problem. I mean, it makes things very difficult. When you don't have everybody at practice, or if you've got everybody there, but you got 4 or 5 guys that aren't feeling very well, and out of your 12, or you kind of have to back off on what you want to do, and it's hard to get things done that you're really trying to get done at times. So it makes practice difficult, and then game-wise, you know, you never. You want all your guys there, and you kind of need all your guys there. But then when people are down with illnesses and whatnot, it just adds another element to finding the guy down the bench that is going to come in and give you the good minutes. Last night, Cooper Falkenhagen gave us some outstanding minutes to give ourselves a chance to win, and he really bailed some guys out with got in foul trouble, and he came in and gave us 2 really good quarters of play, and really proud of that he was just able to step in and step up like that. So we're continuing to have the next guy step up and help out and do the things they need to do to help us win games. And we've just been pretty consistent with a couple of our top guys, but I mean, our bench guys and things of that nature have really stepped up and done a really nice job of doing the things they need to help us win games.
And I know you just mentioned it too, but you know, to see those guys step up into different roles, whether it be more minutes, whether it be a different assignment than what they're used to having, that next man up mentality, and to still get a 14-point win, still be on a 6-game winning streak. You know, maybe you didn't have that illness at the beginning of a 6-game winning streak, but as this has gone on over the last couple of weeks, just how fun that is to see as a coach, to see those guys step up into different roles and to make those plays and to have that next man up mentality when things are difficult like that. And it's fun to see that, but not so fun to see all those guys be down too. But just how important that is for a team to be successful, having that next man up mentality.
Yeah, it's vital for us to have that ability to have guys step into different roles and do things that maybe they're not didn't think they were going to be expected to do, and it kind of shows them that they have the ability to do things that maybe they didn't expect or didn't think that they could do. So that part's fun. It's never fun to have anybody down, though. Like it's never fun to have any of your guys not available or not able to play, and they work so hard and they only get so many games. You hate when they lose a game here and there just because, they get sick or something that's kind of a little bit out of their control. All of a sudden you come down with influenza or you end up with a fever. Like nobody's planning on that or trying for that. Like for the most part, I think kids are taking care of themselves the best they can, but sometimes when you're in a school and it's rolling through, there's not a whole lot you can do. Sometimes it's just got to run its course on you, and you just hope that when you get it, it's not as bad as when somebody else got it. So.
Talk with Brian White, head coach of the Soy Buttes Charger boys basketball team after a win last night. Now you get set for Potter County on Friday. The records are out the windows regardless of both teams have great records, bad records, 500 records. It is a great environment of some really good basketball between two rivalry schools of Soy Buttes and Potter County. As a coach, to see, and Soy Buttes already fills up the gym, pretty much night in and night out. But then you add on the opposing team coming in. It's got to be, it's a lot of fun to win those games, but it's got to be a lot of fun and a really good battle coming up on Friday.
Yeah, and it's been a great rivalry here for many years, and it's always a good contest, and everybody's going to come out and play hard and do the things they need to do to try to win the basketball game. And you're going to find effort on both sides. Like that's you never have to worry about somebody not playing as hard as they possibly can in that one. So we're going to have to come out. We're going to have to execute. We're going to have to do the things that we do well, and we're going to have to defend, rebound, all the coach jargon there that you have. But being able to handle their pressure and handle the things that they do well is going to be a big contributor or lack thereof of our success going forward here.
Now, a couple questions here before we start to wrap things up. One pertaining to basketball. You're at the point now with 7 games remaining. There's still quite a few games for the Soy Buttes Chargers. We're in the final couple weeks here, the 28th of February. That Friday is your last game. Do you look at the standings at all to this point, or is it still going to be not even towards the end of the season that you're looking at the stand? Do you ever look? Are we coming to the point where you look at it, or do you stay away from those standings until after the season's over with, and then you finally see who you're going to play in the region tournament?
It's impossible to not look and not know where you're at. That's probably not even a reasonable expectation of most. But my job and my goal is just that we continue to get better and we continue to work on who we are. We still have a lot of growth to make in the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I think we can become a much better team in the next 3 weeks, and that's going to be my goal, is that we're continuing to get better through the next 3 weeks, because we've kind of lost a little practice time due to illness, and we've had to take it a little bit lighter and things like that. So hopefully we can get healthy here so we can do a few things over the next couple weeks here that really improve us to make us a better basketball team and prep us for that stretch run.
We're going to shift gears just a quick little bit. First question, or first thought of this is Gray Zabel, and get a chance to talk about him again. You mentioned, you got a chance to watch him play, actually watch him in person play in the FCS championship. We saw the extraordinary efforts that he had in the Senior Bowl practice. Not surprising to us, maybe surprising to other people outside of the area. But how special is it to see a kid that that you coach to be at the biggest stage of that Senior Bowl practice and to up his draft stock by that? That's no surprise to you, right?
No, and we're just proud of him. We're just happy for him and proud of him, and the way he handles this stuff. His interviews were outstanding. His interview about the mustache might have been the best part of my entire day. I was laughing so hard. He's the same guy right now as he was 4 or 5 years ago. He's the same kid, same dude, just a great human that he's taken advantage of his opportunities. He's worked hard for where he's at, and we're just really proud of him and excited for him and things of that nature. And it looks like Link's staying at Ohio State. I'm excited for him to get to go compete in spring ball for a job. I mean, I think it's between him and one other guy to go win a job, so that's cool. Like all of the stuff that's happening for some of these guys is just so cool and so fun to follow. And the best part is that, like, they represent Pierre in our area so well. Like, it's unbelievable how well these guys represent their area because of just the class acts they are in everything they do. So it's been a really cool stretch here, I think, for all of us that get to follow these guys and get to say that we know them and call them friends, and it's really neat.
I'm going to stay on the football side, but I'm going to throw a quick question to you. Super Bowl coming up on Sunday. The Chiefs and the Eagles. I got to, as I do every year, got to ask the winner and the score. Who do you think is going to win? What's the final score going to be?
Well, the Eagles are going to win because nobody can cheer for the Chiefs. And they're going to win 24-17.
24-17. Okay, all right. No. So, there's been a couple of coaches that have picked the Chiefs. I think some of it they picked it just because everybody else had been picking the Eagles, so they want to be right, and they just have to just get the Chiefs to win. But yeah, there's this. But every single coach, and you included, that it's a little bit of a deep breath of having to try and pick a winner, because I think most coaches right now don't really care to have either one of these teams win.
Yeah, you got to pick with your heart. You got to pick with your heart there, and as a Cowboys fan, it kills me to say that the Eagles are going to win, but I'll take the Eagles over the Chiefs, I guess. So,
oh boy, we could have a whole different coach's corner talking about the Cowboys, and
we don't have enough time to fix the problems there.
Man, we'd be lamenting way too much over the next 20 minutes before we even actually start talking about them. But before we get done here with this interview, let's go back to basketball. You get Potter County on Friday night. Obviously, you'll take on Harriet Selby next Tuesday and continue to move forward. But let's talk about Friday night. Biggest key for the Chargers to get a win Friday against Potter County.
We got to take care of the ball. We got to take care of the ball, and we got to rebound well. If we take care of the ball and we rebound well, I think we're going to give ourselves a good chance to win. And we got to continue to move the ball like we have. We've really, the ball's popped for us lately, and multiple guys touching it on possessions and getting multiple sides and doing all those sort of things. If we do those sort of things, we're going to give ourselves a pretty good chance to win the basketball game. If we don't do those things, we're probably not going to win the basketball game. So I'm just excited for our kids. I think they've put themselves in a great spot. They've worked extremely hard to get where they are, and I'm really excited for them to have the success they're having.
Well, Coach, I appreciate the time as always. Good talking to you. Looking forward to seeing and watching Sully Buttes and seeing Sully Buttes over the next couple of weeks to get ready for the postseason as that season starts to wind down. But good luck on Friday, and we'll be talking to you again soon.
Thank you much. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. That is Coach Brian Wyatt, the Sully Buttes Charger boys basketball team. Back with more Coaches Corner after this here on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com. kccrradio.com.
People helping people. Have you ever wondered what the benefits are of becoming a Owyhee Federal Credit Union member? At Owyhee Federal Credit Union, we reinvest profits in you. We do this in the form of lower interest rates, higher dividends, and low to no fees. So come check us out or come in at 221 East Pleasant Drive in Pierre, because at Owyhee Federal Credit Union, we treat our members like they own the place because, well, they do.
Owyhee Federal Credit Union.
Score big on your next vehicle purchase with Lamb Motor Company in Oneida and Gettysburg, Lamb Chevrolet and Implement in Oneida, and Lamb Auto Sales in Pierre. Check out their large selection of new and pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs at any one of their locations, or go online to lambmotor.com. That's LAMBMOTOR.com. Or give them a call today at 800-952-2222. Lamb Motor Company of Oneida and Gettysburg, Lamb Chevrolet and Implement in Oneida, and Lamb Auto Sales in Pierre.
Building a home. It's the biggest investment most of us make in a lifetime. Not to mention, it's a decision that, well, you pretty much live with day and night. The quality of the workmanship stares back at you like a reflection. It also affects the value of your investment. Choosing the right contractor is critical. Kruger Contracting is that contractor. Call 222-2523. Quality workmanship and materials completed on time. Kruger Contracting. In a word, quality. Call 222-2523.
That's a clown question, bro.
You're listening to Coach's Corner on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com.
As we welcome you back to Coach's Corner here on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com. Joining me is Coach Matt Thorson of the Pierre Governor girls wrestling team as they get set for a weekend heading down to Yankton after dueling Yankton on Tuesday. And Coach, it was senior night on Tuesday night and a chance for you to talk about these seniors for this girls program. And these first several years, every year special. Every senior class is always special. But these first several years of girls wrestling, they're such a special group of seniors because they either were from the beginning and when you started and were able to work their way through, or they just gave wrestling a shot and turned into a really great wrestling, great wrestlers. Talk about these seniors and what they mean to this Pierre Governor group.
Yeah, I mean, we were actually just kind of talking about it last night with, I was talking with Danny Ringsmeyer about it. It's kind of like, man, it seems like so long ago when they started with us, but yet it has flown by. So it's been an incredible, 4 or 5 years with, 4 years with Danny in Ireland and Cayenne's been here for all 5 years of the program. So these girls have been around since really the beginning. My first year as the sole head coach of the program was Danny in Ireland's first year. And like I said, Cayenne was even here a year before that. So it's been fun. It's been, an awesome journey, and these girls have meant so much to the program and to the future of this program and where it's heading. So we can't thank them enough, and they are so appreciate. We appreciate them so much for what they've done for this program, and I know that they're looking to end the season on a high note for sure.
And that's such a cool thing too, when you look at and you, I don't want to talk about next year quite yet because we still got to get through this year. But there's only 3 seniors for the Pierre Governors, and those are three big names to begin with. But that just tells you again how deep this Pierre Governor girls wrestling program is. That you're only losing 3 when you have up and down the lineup. There's so many great names and great wrestlers for this Pierre Governor group. You're only going to lose 3 of them after this year.
Yeah, I mean, number-wise, it's not losing a whole lot, but, character-wise and leadership-wise and really contribution-wise, it's going to be some tough shoes to fill, that's for sure. So it's, yes, only 3, but at the same time, like you said, it's some big 3 wrestlers that have been a staple of this program for a lot of years.
Talking with Coach Matt Thorson here of the Pierre girls wrestling team. You guys go to Yankton now and have a tournament, so you might see some of the same girls that were wrestling on Tuesday night. But otherwise, this is a kind of towards the end of the year. We mentioned just a little bit before that may not be a full team that is down there to wrestle this weekend. Talk a little bit about the why that might be.
Yeah, I mean, right now it's a matter of doing whatever each girl needs individually to be ready to go for the state tournament. And obviously it's a grueling season, and there's a lot of competitions and weigh-ins and matchups and things like that. So, we're going to take it, case by case, and there will definitely be some girls resting this weekend, which is exactly what they need. And like I said, we're not really competing for the Yankton Invite title. We're gearing up for the big one at the end of the season. So some of these girls need some more matchups, some more matches, and some girls have proven through the year that they're right where they need to be, and it's a matter of just keeping them fine-tuned and giving them rest when they need it.
Yeah, without looking through full records of all the wrestlers, there's been some weeks or even longer weeks where girls didn't wrestle at all because they only had a duel. Maybe they got in a tournament, but maybe they wrestled just that one day because there's so many weight classes that are open that this will be a good tournament for them. And then others that are saying, boy, all these girls have had a lot of rest during these duels, and I haven't had a chance to rest at all. It's like you said, case by case, because some girls have wrestled a lot in a lot of time. Others are itching for more matches because they've been sitting on the sidelines during duels because they've had open weights.
Yeah, exactly. And on top of that, it's a luxury of, and I think we've talked about this before, but a luxury of what we have is that, they're competing against each other every single day in the wrestling room. So there's definitely not a lack of competition that any of these girls are getting. It's just, like you said, sometimes getting your hand raised for a forfeit isn't too excruciatingly tough, So some of these girls need some more matches, and some it's just for some good experience. Some it's to, they'd prefer to stay sharp and wrestle. Some think that, again, that maybe a mental break is what they need right now. So, like you said, case by case, and it's going to be, regardless of who comes to Yankton and who doesn't, it's, they go out and they compete and they're ready to go.
So now you're going to Yankton this weekend for a tournament, and then next weekend is the state duels for the boys on that Friday and Saturday. You guys have a tournament on that Thursday, the ESD, I believe it is. Let's run through the rest of this season, because the next time we'll talk, we'll be getting set for the state tournament, state wrestling tournament. Talk what the rest of the season holds for the girls, because it is most of the time you're always in the same position as the boys, whether it be the same spot or just in a tournament the same day. Now it's going to be a little bit different. Talk a little bit about what's left in the season.
Yeah, well, like you said, we got Yankton this weekend, and then we've got our 2 duels this week. But then next week it's just our ESD and Huron, which is a good tournament. Obviously, it's girls that we've all seen before. We've seen all the ESD schools, some of them close to 8 times. So, you got to take advantage of those because, like you said, there's no more duels, and it's one competition a week, and we don't want our girls sitting around too much without competition. So that's a good tournament, and then obviously we got the region tournament. So it's all just, gearing up for the state tournament is what it is. It's these tournaments. That's what we treat them as, is what can we get out of this tournament that's going to get us better for the state tournament. And competition alone, having to get mentally ready to go, physically ready to go, keep down your weight, maintain that stuff. It's all just mental and physical preparation for state.
And, you kind of just mentioned a little bit of what my next question will be is you guys have won every duel. The team title has been for the Pierre Governors in every tournament. Obviously, you'd love to see every individual win a tournament in every individual weight class. But what's been the most impressive thing about this Governor team, and maybe what's something that when people look at the scores and they look at the team standings and they say, oh, the Governors won again, what's the biggest, best thing that you've seen for the Governors? What's also a thing that still needs to be better for the Govs going into the final couple weeks of the season?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of this is built in the off season too. I can't take really any credit for what these girls do, just because they put in so much time in the off season. They're the ones out on the mat, and what I just appreciate about this group, especially our veterans, is just that they're so consistent. They're working hard in practice. They've got a great attitude. They want to go compete, and they know what's good for them. They know what they need to do. They know how to do it. I mean, there's a lot of girls who've wrestled a lot of matches in our wrestling room, so the consistency, and not just consistently being there, but consistently being good and consistently putting quality matches together has been just a key for, the duels, the tournaments, things like that. And along the way, we have some younger girls, you think of the Gemma Stanglin and the Briley Pelly and girls like that who are kind of making their own path, and they're starting to, we're starting to see some glimpses of really good wrestling with some of these girls, as our veterans are kind of, they carry a lot of the weight of the success we have, but it doesn't, you cannot be successful as a team without, having your role players, wrestle to the best of their ability and catch points when they can, whether it's duels or tournaments, whatever it is. So when it comes to state, it definitely is going to take, all 12 of us to get the job done. And, we have high expectations for not just our upperclassmen, but for the underclassmen and the younger girls. It's not something that you can't really let down the expectation because they're younger and inexperienced. You have to keep the bar high, and I think that the older girls hold the younger girls accountable, and that just kind of is a recipe for success, I think, in the program.
So now let's change subjects for just a moment. Talking with Matt Thorson, head coach of the Pierre girls wrestling team. Super Bowl is coming up on Sunday. The tradition that I like to have is every coach over the 2 weeks is to give me a winner and a score prediction. So, Coach, it's now time for your turn to give me a winner between the Chiefs and Eagles and what the score is going to be.
I know it's going to be the Chiefs. It's got to be the Chiefs, right? So we'll go Chiefs. Let's go 28-26.
28-26. That would be a good. Is it now I don't know if they'll have 25 points, but would it be a missed field goal at the end, or maybe a made field goal by the Chiefs to win it?
I just think that it's going to be the Eagles have a chance to make a field goal, but something is just going to happen in the Chiefs' favor, and they're not going to make the Eagles won't make that ending field goal.
Oh, is there a conspiracy theory going on here?
There's all sorts of them, and I'm a full believer in all of them. There's something up, and the Chiefs are going to win. There's no doubt. I don't want them to win, but they'll win.
All right, well, 28-26 for the Chiefs. Coach Thorson, he's got to position his hat a little bit. No, just kidding. Coach, before we wrap things up, let's go back to wrestling. You get Yankton this weekend. We'll be talking before the state tournament, so we won't get there quite yet. But biggest key here for this Yankton tournament and then for the ESD tournament, biggest key for the Governors to be successful and to come out on top in these tournaments.
It's wrestle our match. It's, who can wrestle their style the better. And that's what we talk about a lot is like, don't wrestle into your opponent's strengths or try to do this versus them that you don't ever do before, you've never done before. Wrestle your match, be consistent, and really if you can just be more physical and don't make the big mistake, a lot of good things happen. You can win a lot of matches that way. So we always try to be physical and limit the mistakes, and good things usually bounce your way.
Well, Coach, hey, I appreciate the time. It is always good talking to you. Looking forward to what the Governors can do over the weekend and into next week, and getting set for the stretch run of this season. I appreciate the time. Good luck this weekend, and we'll be talking to you again soon.
All righty, thank you.
Absolutely. That is head coach Matt Thorson of the Pierre Governor girls wrestling team. Back with more of Coach's Corner after this here on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com. KCCR Radio.
Capital City Ford Lincoln Toyota is serving the Central South Dakota community and beyond with a great selection of used vehicles. Local trades and program vehicles are available. New Toyotas and new Fords are arriving and selling before they even hit the lot. So don't wait. Stop in and find out what's coming. If you've been thinking about ordering a new Ford, stop in and sit down with one of our sales specialists today. Capital City Ford Lincoln Toyota at 518 East Sioux Avenue in Pierre. Call 605-224-7378 and visit CapitalCityFordToyota.com.
No one likes to have electrical problems, but when they happen, call Todd's Electric at 223-2518. With over 30 years of experience, Todd's Electric can handle any type of electrical problem, whether it's residential, commercial, or agriculture. Their knowledgeable staff knows and understands the importance of your home, business, or ag facility and are prepared to help. That number again is 223-2518. Todd's Electric Service, serving the Pierre-Fort Pierre area. Todd's Electric Service, the line to power. It takes hard work to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than just sports. It also goes for your financial goals. You work hard for your money. You deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. Your local Edward Jones financial advisor can help. If your investments aren't getting you closer to the win, visit edwardjones.com or stop by your local Pierre area Edward Jones office for a financial review. Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Member SIPC.
Let me talk to you. You're listening to Coach's Corner on Central South Dakota's sports leader, KCCR.
Yeah. Back here in the KCCR studios as we wrap up another evening of Coach's Corner here on KCCR. Stay tuned. Coming up at 7:45, we've got coverage of Arkansas and Texas in an SEC game as college basketball continues to ramp up, and we are about a month away from the start of not necessarily March Madness, but all the conference tournaments. It really starts the madness going. But that month of March here on KCCR is a special time with all the state tournaments, all of the conference championships of college basketball, and, of course, the NCAA tournament that can be heard here on KCCR. Want to say thanks to our coaches. Landon Badger, head coach of the YA Capital Boys team, as they will take on Aberdeen on Friday and Mitchell on Saturday. Both those games will be on at Capital City Rock and on YouTube at Capital Eagle City Rock Sports with 8 o'clock puck drops. We also want to say thanks to Kirk Bebow, the head coach of the Pierre girls basketball team. They will host Yankton on Friday night and then go to T Saturday afternoon. Both those games are on KCCR and also available to watch on YouTube at KCCR Sports. And want to say thanks as well to Matt Thorson, the head coach of the Pierre girls wrestling team. They will wrap up their dual season tomorrow in Mitchell and then also be in a tournament in Yankton on Friday, as well as also saying thanks to Brian White, head coach of the Soy Beach boys basketball team. They take on Potter County Friday night. DT will have the coverage of that doubleheader on Country 95.3 and on YouTube at Country 95.3 Sports. Join us for the Super Bowl on Sunday. We will have it coverage at 1 o'clock here on KCCR with the coverage starting at 1, going all the way up to kickoff at 5:30. Biggest game of the year, Kansas City Chiefs, Philadelphia Eagles. We've got it right here on KCCR, so make sure you join us for the game on Sunday. Maybe it's you don't want either team to win. Maybe you'd rather see a boring game or be able to say, yeah, this was a terrible game. Maybe you're a big fan of one of the two teams. Maybe you just don't have any. It's hard to find anybody that's kind of even on the Kansas City Chiefs and the Eagles for that matter too. That you don't love them, you don't hate them. They're kind of polarizing teams right now. But maybe you're just looking for a good football game because it is the biggest game of the year, and you want to see some good football to close out the year. But we've got it here on KCCR. You can listen to it right here on a KCCR, starting at 1 o'clock with coverage on that Sunday. Wraps up another edition of Coach's Corner. Glad you're with us for another week. We've got 3 more shows before we wrap up for the spring and summer break. It'll take us to the last Wednesday of February, right before the state tournament for wrestling, and get you set for then also what will be the Sodak 16s for basketball, as well as also getting ready for the state hockey tournaments as well. So there will be a lot to talk about coming up on that last show. But we've still got another couple of shows before we get to that point. Going to be a fun couple of weeks here on Coach's Corner for another edition of that. Coming up next Wednesday, 5:30 right here on KCCR. Again, stay tuned. We've got college basketball coming up at 7:45 between Arkansas and Texas. This is John Wickler saying have a good rest of your night. We'll see you next Wednesday here for Coach's Corner.